Sorry about that. Having issues with adjusting this camera. I do have another camera, but I'm not able to hook it up this evening. But I am working on this, and I want you to know that this is 3-year-old clay. Can you imagine? And I basically restored it to what it was, because it is a firm polymer clay, sculpted gray firm, because at the time when I purchased it, I had planned on buying it to make sculptures. And so after 4 hours of using a chasing hammer, because I do a lot of wire work, and so because of that, I used this and banged on the bag all over. I mean, I'm sure you get it. It's not that hard to imagine doing that. And then, of course, pulling pieces out, like I'm going to do here to show you, in bare hands, mind you. And then taking this, which looks like, I don't know, gray hamburger, vegan hamburger. I'm a vegan. So anyway, without further ado, this is basically what you have to do, and this has to be hand kneaded. If you want to save your clay, clay is really expensive, especially sculpting clay. I mean, I was about ready to throw it in the trash, but I was able to get it to the point that you see here. And it did take me at 4 hours just to get it hammered down and then softened. But I think if it stays another 24 hours in the softener or baby oil, you can use baby oil. You just have to use something that's not gonna, like, I don't know, smell or have an odor, but just a little bit of oil. You don't need a lot. And I also put the clay in this bag and put it inside and sealed it, and then put it in a large bowl of hot water that I microwaved, and set my towel right here on top of it to hold it down. And I did that for about 45 minutes, and then took it out and hammered the bag some more. And I also used my mallet here, which is a lot less rougher on a plastic bag, but this is one of those reusable ones that you can freeze, wash. So this is a lot more sturdy than a regular baggie. So that is my suggestion, that you buy some of these bags. I think you can get them in Walmart. They're not that expensive. And you just keep pounding until you get that clay where it will soften up. And I'm telling you, it sounded like I was doing construction here today in my place. But I wanted to get this video up to show people that it is possible to restore their old clay. I mean, unless it's dust and you've still got clay. I had a solid block of gray clay that was like, I mean, I couldn't saw the stuff in two. I had to put it down in the baggie, then put it in the water for 45 minutes, take it out, beat on it, and then I couldn't find my razor, so I had to use this. This is what I've been cutting my clay with today until I can find my razors, which I do have. Anyway, it took around 4 hours to do this. And it's a lot of hand work, and I'm telling you, it does take some patience, and you will have to have some patience. But if you want to restore your clay, I promise you can. There's no such thing as not restoring it. This was 3 years old, right? 2020 I bought this clay off of Amazon. And I think 3 boxes, or that's the picture, is like 39 something. So one of these is really expensive unless you buy it in the bulk. But it's definitely worth saving it. I mean, from a point of view that I didn't want to lose the clay and the price that it goes at, especially when you do as much jewelry and stuff that I do. Of course, I haven't gotten any full videos up other than my one ring video of me doing it. But I just am working on this, and I also have an ammonite here. I think I'm saying that wrong, but anyway, it's a fossil and it's beautiful, and I'm going to take this tomorrow and wire wrap it in silver, and that's going to be one of my videos coming up. So it's really gorgeous. But anyway, I really wanted to pay attention to doing this polymer clay because it's real important. There's a lot of people out here that don't know, and you know, they'll throw it in the trash, and I'm telling you, you can save it. Just sitting here right now for these few minutes doing this in front of the camera with you, and then rolling it back and forth in your hand, okay? Hands like this, just like that. You want to roll it back and forth, okay? And just keep doing that. And if you have to, because it's still kind of crumbly right here, this other I was actually able to completely smooth out, and you can do that. So while it's like this state for right now, you can just take this. Of course, if you have one of those razor things, which I do normally, just cut down, straight down, until you have a piece about this size. And just keep doing that. Keep making these small pieces like that. If you don't want to ruin your mat, this is not really meant for cutting on. Not clay anyway. So you just want to cut these in small pieces like this, as small as you can get them, really. And then just work them in your hands. Work the clay until it starts to soften up, and roll it also. If you'll roll it back and forth, the warmth from your hands will help warm the clay up, and it'll start looking better. But like I said, this was about 4 hours of work just getting this small amount of clay that I did do. And this is a pound box, by the way. This is 1 pound of firm sculpty clay, gray, because I was going to be doing some sculpting. But and I still plan on doing that, but just not for this video. But I did want to get this up here about the polymer clay, that you can save it even after 3 years. I am able to get this clay to get soft again. And if you, like, I still feel like, if you notice, there's like bumps in this, and this is because it's the new piece I cut and just taken out of that bag. This clay here has been worked, that's up here in the balls and these. So you can take like this piece of clay until you can get it, and just take this, and you want to take your roller and roll it like back and forth, and then just keep peeling it off, and you can already see the difference. My goodness, it's already changing the texture. Just get it in small enough pieces to work it in your hands, because it is a job. And I know, look, I know it can be frustrating to have to try to fix your clay, but honestly, can you afford to go and buy clay every day that's really expensive, that you use for jewelry and other things? I'm not saying you can't, but wouldn't it be better to save it if you could? You know whether or not your clay's savable. If it's so bad that you just can't even get it where it'll be soft. I mean, I was beating the heck out of that bag with the mallet, and then with my chasing hammer, which is not meant to use for that. The chasing hammer is for jewelry. But as you can see, this is pretty good. I mean, like, it absolutely is changing just in this little bit of time. And my house is not hot, by the way. I have the AC on because where I'm at right now out here, the weather is just really bad. We have heat advisories. So okay, so I still feel like little pieces in there, and you can just keep, like I said, you can just keep working this in your hands And then the other thing is too, if you have to, you can take this if you have to, and I don't want my camera to fall, and beat on this to kind of soften it up some, and then just roll it some more. And just keep doing that until you get this clay to the texture that you want, or until you feel it's usable, because this right now is usable. And that's amazing. I mean, it really is amazing how well it's doing. I still have a couple pieces, and you may find too, you may find that you might get a piece that's like a rock in it. But if you lose that little piece, what difference does that make compared to all the clay that you're saving? So just take that piece out, and of course keep working it in between your fingers and the palms of your hands, because your hands get really warm and it will heat this clay up so that it will soften it. And if you feel like you got it too soft with using the baby oil, or using I use baby oil because I didn't have the softener, but you can buy it on Amazon. I believe it's made by Sculpey. There's a softener. It's like a softener oil. Later I will put a link in my video where you can get that. And by the way, I don't have enough videos up right now to even be sponsored, but I can put the link in there for you anyway, so that you can get to it and find that Sculpey softener. And you can also, if you want, you can add some liquid clay will work also. If you want to use that, liquid clay will help soften it. I personally think the baby oil is the best route, and doing the baggie and putting it in the bowl of hot water and then just beating it to death with a hammer, and keep working it until you can get it. Once you've added that baby oil in there, as much as you think. I kind of guesstimated, because I had a pound of clay that was like gravel in our driveway. It was so hard when I was cutting it. Once I got it out of the bag, I was still cutting it, and it was still hard to cut. And so it does make a difference. And I'm just rambling. But what I'm telling you is, don't throw your old clay away. You can save it. And it is worth it. Because once you get this all done, you can seal this up in some kind of container. Remember, you really shouldn't put any Sculpey or any other clay on a piece of plastic very long. It actually will leach into the plastic. I'm not sure why that happens. I haven't done any research on that. I just, you know, have fun, create fun art, and do crafting. I'm not someone who's done a lot of research, except for except for when I went out to look at the videos where they showed how to do polymer clay and to like bring the colors together. They have a name for it. I can't think of it. I'm a wire wrapper. But anyway, I'm just saying, don't throw your polymer clay away, folks. You're wasting a lot of money. And sorry, you can't always see me, but you don't need to anyway. You're here to learn something, so I think that's the most important thing. And I don't know if you noticed, but my t-shirts says Super NES. That's because I'm a Nintendo player, Switch Nintendo player, so I'm a big gamer. I love games. Started playing Switch, well, in the last, since 2017, because before that I had the older systems. I had a PS1, I've had an Xbox 360, and I also had like the original Nintendo 64. So I was playing Zelda when Zelda was bricks and not like a video like it is now, which is pretty awesome. But anyway, let's get back to the clay. Keep rubbing this clay in between your hands, okay, until you can get it soft enough, and then it'll be pliable and it'll be workable. It's amazing. And by the way, I'm going to be having another video up very shortly. I just wanted to do this one to get you guys familiar with how to soften clay. Remember, you can use baby oil. Don't buy the baby oil that smells. Get something that doesn't have an odor, and you can use that. Or you can spend the money and get the clay softener, which I believe is made by Sculpey. And you can also, with clays that are hard, you can add, besides the Sculpey and the baby oil, you can, some people claim you can add Vaseline. I'm not going to claim that. Baby oil works. I know that for a fact, and it's a lot cheaper than the Sculpey stuff, but some people prefer that over that. And so that'll be a choice you have to make. Anyway, I know this isn't a super duper video. I'm not doing any major crafting here or creations, but I am getting ready to also do a future video with resin, UV resin, and a UV light, which I'll be showing you about that also and how to use that. And it's really simple, a lot of fun, and you can make some really beautiful stuff and just do some really awesome things, and that'll be coming up soon. In the meantime, remember, keep rolling this clay in between your hands. If you can find something to do, watch TV while you do it or something, so that you're not feeling like you're not doing anything except sitting there rolling clay in your hands, because that is what you're doing. But this will definitely help it. It will, the heat from your hands will soften it up once you've had the baby oil in there. And it does have to kind of leach into the clay, and you really should work the clay even in the bag. If you can squeeze the bag, you know, squeeze it with your hands so it'll take your baggie with your clay in it and just work it like this if you don't really want to get it on your hands. And then you can use the roller and roll it in the bag, but you need one of these baggies that's one of those reusable ones that you're supposed to be able to wash. Of course, I'll never be able to use this for anything else again, but I will be cleaning it out. I don't know if polymer clay will eat through this baggie or not, but I'm telling you, you can't use a regular Ziploc baggie or something, one of those little flimsy ones for a sandwich. It's got to be this type, the reusable type. And you can buy them, I believe, in Walmart pretty cheap. And you may even be able to find them on Amazon too for fairly reasonable. But you can work this like this in your hand. If you're afraid of using a hammer on it, you can use your rolling pin. But this is what I was using. So this and my chase hammer when it was first hard. And I mean, I was really banging it down to make sure that it was flattening this clay. I mean, you really got to put a little bit of groove, muscle and groove behind this, okay, or a little bit of elbow grease. And like I said, it did really well. Of course, I'm still working on pieces, as you can see, like this. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like it should be a rock on the side of a mountain or something. But anyway, you see how crumbly and all that is, but the baby oil is working into that. And it will do more and more. As it sits longer, it will go in. But also, like I said, you really, really, really need to hand work this. And then just hand work small pieces. Roll it out, like I said, into a log, a small log to begin with, and then cut the log in pieces just like I showed you. And then you can just work each piece individually, kind of smush it in your hands, and then get that flat round, it's kind of like a lopsided mini tortilla, and just get it to roll out and keep squishing it. And like I said, you know, it will take some work. I'm not saying it's easy, but you will save that clay and it'll be worth it. Trust me, it will be worth it, because once you have it, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you were able to restore the clay and you were able to get it back to almost its original life. It should be pretty perfect. Like I said, as you can see, these pieces right here, this is amazing. And this clay was all dried out, just like what you saw, had seen that I just showed you in the baggie. Just like this and worse. I didn't think about it. because I didn't take a picture of it when it was like in a block and it was crumbling. It actually didn't lose its color, so it kept its color, but it looked like this. It looked like gravel, but it was a big chunk because they come in a big block and then they have like lines across the block. And I don't know why, but even then, now that I think about this, when I bought this back in 2020, it just came in this box. There was no plastic wrap or anything on it. I should have known that it was going to dry out, because they do put it in plastic now. I don't know what it's made out of, but it must not eat through it. But I'm just saying that you definitely don't want to put this in anything that it would leach in. Like if you got one of those little drawer things with the plastic drawers, you kind of want to make sure that you keep your clay in the package, okay? You definitely want to make sure you do that, because it will get in there and it will leach through the plastic. Or actually, if you don't want that plastic to turn where it's not clear or possibly damage the little plastic drawers or something, you definitely don't want to do that. And as you see, I'm still steadily working while I'm talking to you. But this is amazing. I cannot believe, I was so afraid that I wasn't going to be able to get this to restore. And I actually asked someone else that I watch, who's a pretty awesome YouTuber also, which is Yvonne Williams, but she's now Yvonne Kennedy. Vaughn is now Kennedy. She is remarried and she is on the Back to Earth Creations, and she's an amazing artist and amazing cosplayer and all that. She's getting ready to go to Dragon Con, by the way. I hope you don't mind me saying that, Mrs. Kennedy. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I had asked, and of course I had said it was so bad I didn't think I was going to restore it. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to get this clay to restore. And so I did. And that's what I'm doing now, and that's why I'm making this video, to tell you, you can do it. This clay was 3 years old. It's 2023. In fact, probably a little more than that, because it's after when I moved, which has been quite a while. But anyway, it's been 3 years since this clay was used, and it's been in that box inside another box with some of my craft products that I didn't even think about that it was in there. But you can do this. It will restore, and you'll be what? Making beads and everything else and whatever your heart desires, because I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. But this is almost just like it was when I bought it. And it was over 3 years old, dried out, hard and crumbly, because I just showed you, and I'm going to show you again. Look inside that box. It looks like gravel in a driveway or on the side of a mountain or something, if they have that color. I think most of the clay in the States, depending on where you go, is red. But anyway, that is something else. So from that, I was able to achieve this and this. This is amazing, and I'm telling you, this is firm clay, so don't think I can just push down on it like you can other sculpted clay. But this is firm because I was going to be using this for modeling and for making sculptures. So I wanted extra firm, because if I made a head or anything, that it would hold solid. In fact, I plan on doing it in the future. I'm planning on making, I'm hoping, some miniature dragons, since those are some of my favorites, and I really am a big fan of dragons. So anyway, I'm just telling you, get your polymer clay. Don't throw it away. Put it in a baggie. Add some baby oil or get some Sculpey softener and put a few drops in there or more, depending on how big yours is. Mine was a pound, so I definitely used more than 2 caps in this. And I'm still having to work that original piece, but as you can see, it's not too bad. And then you just take your roller. You don't have to have a pasta machine. If you just have a roller, or even if you don't have a roller, I guess you could use a glass bottle or something, but you definitely want a roller. It's a lot easier. So this is really amazing. This is 3-year-old clay, folks, and it's doing excellent. And it's gone from being crumbled gray gravelly looking stuff to this. It's just amazing how great it turned out, and it is something else. I am so proud of myself, and I was so glad to be able to get up here and do a video for you this evening and show you what amazing, just amazing. I can't say it enough. Don't throw your clay out. Give it a second chance. Give it a second life. If you have to, beat it like this. You see little lumps and stuff, just beat it up, you know, because you're breaking it down so that what? It will be softer, as if you were running it through a pasta machine. And I do have a pasta machine with an actual motor on it, but it's packed in a box right now. So my main goals are my jewelry and stuff, and then I may be doing some sculptures. I may actually do some sculptures, because it's something I love, and I love doing my art. And a lot of my jewelry, except for where I've watched other creators, most of my ideas came from what I drew. So this is amazing, folks. Do not throw your polymer clay out. 3 years old, sculpty, firm. This isn't soft, ooey gooey. This is firm polymer clay. So not only was it dried out for 3 years in a box, inside a box, with no wrap, and what? I still got it to come back. So I'm telling you, you can do this. Do not give up. You can actually get your clay to soften up. I promise you it will work. So I got out some of my clay tools here. This is my little arsenal of these, as you can see. I just want to show you how great, because these are not hard, okay, but they are meant for cutting. But I wanted you to see how great this clay is now. This is unbelievable, folks. This is, you know, see, we're not cutting rocks here literally. This is polymer clay, extra firm. I keep wanting to say extra firm. It's firm polymer clay, and it's amazing. 3 years old, dried out in a box, harder than a rock, a big block of it. I had to sit and cut it, and I'm telling you, I felt sorry for myself because I was using the steak knife to cut it because I couldn't find my razors, and they're in a box that I use for cutting the clay. But it worked, and that's all that matters. But honestly, this is amazing. You'll be able to do with this like you would as if you had just purchased it. I promise you. Just take a little time. It'll take a little patience, but you can do it. And I promise you, you can get that old dried out clay to work again. Just get you some baby oil or some clay softener, and it will work. And look, even this is through the balls I made, so that you can see the little rolled up balls I made of clay, so you can see what it actually looks like, okay? It's not too bad. It's as if it were new. You can't beat this, I'm telling you. Get yourself one of these baggies, like either by yourself. I think they come in sets, some of them. This one is called it's JOIS. I don't know that brand, but if you know that brand, you can pick it up in Walmart, and I think you buy like 2 or 3 of them. But you need this kind of baggie to do it in, I'm telling you now. You can't use a sandwich baggie, okay, folks? So you definitely need something you can pound the clay inside the bag with a hammer. And I use the chase hammer, but my recommendation is to use a mallet. This is just a soft type leather mallet that you can use, or you can get a plastic mallet. It doesn't matter. You just need to use a mallet to beat the clay, okay? I hope this has helped you some, because I'm telling you, it works. You can do this. You can get your clay after 3 years of sitting in a box like mine did, drying out. Just taking a few small pieces, like I said, just when I showed you just a moment ago, to roll it into the chunk that I pulled out of the bag, roll it into a log, and you can get this down to what it needs to be. So I'm just saying, so you just grab some of your clay like I did. This is quite a big chunk, so I'm gonna break this in two and just do 1/2 and put this back. And I'll show you, like, first thing I did was this to get it into the size of kind of like a log, a small log or a small chunk of wood. And as you can see, it's still like, I mean, it's still kind of crumbly, but the oil is working into it. And if you just keep working it, that oil will work into it even more, and it'll absorb the oil, and as it does, it will get softer. I mean, if you want to be lazy, I guess you could soak it in the either the softener or the olive oil, not olive oil, I don't know why I'm saying that, I cook too much. Anyway, or soak it in the baby oil. And then you could let it sit, I guess, maybe for a month. I heard somebody ever did that they let their clay sit for a month and it actually softened up. And of course, you can also roll it out, and then if it's not as bad as mine was, which means that, excuse me, mine was pretty bad because it was already into rocks. Okay, sorry, I had to take a little break there. I have allergies and my cat is causing me to cough tonight for some reason. Anyway, I'm just doing like I showed you. I'm putting this kind of like into a log. You just want to make it into kind of a log. And once you do that, once you make it into the log, or you've rolled it enough, whatever you feel is sufficient. You can tell in your hands how the clay feels. Of course, mine is firm, so it's not going to feel as soft as maybe a regular block of Sculpey or possibly Kato or some other kind of polymer clay. Like, of course, I've never had my other clays dry out like this. I also have, I'm trying to think the other clay I have. Anyway, they're all brand names, but the more expensive ones, don't let them dry out. But these aren't really cheap either. This clay is not cheap if you're buying it in bulk for doing anything. So, like I said, again, just keep rolling this in your hands until it kind of gets softer. You can actually feel it. Like, I can actually feel even this firm clay softening up just from taking it out of there. And you can see where I'm pushing on it. Like, I mean, it's softened up a ton. When I first started, it actually, I gotta tell you, before it actually, after all the hammering and banging with the mallet and cutting into pieces, okay, about 4 hours, I'd say, was the whole round task of me getting it to the point where it is now. And so it's up to you. I mean, I personally don't think 4 hours is much to give up if you have some free time and you can do this. Absolutely. You need to absolutely do this. And if you hear music in the background, by the way, my music is non-copyrighted, and I will probably put something down in my video to tell where the music is from. Of course, I don't have it that loud, so it was just something to make some sound in the background. But it's sort of Celtic, medieval, non-copyrighted tavern music, I think they call it. Anyway, it's just something that you can get off of YouTube that's non-copyrighted if you need something for your channel, if you have a channel. If not, then that's okay. You may have in the future. You never know. So anyway, just keep working your polymer clay until you feel it softening up. And kind of get it into a log. You want to roll it into a log. And by doing that, you can roll it into the log, and then you can cut it into smaller slices. You just want to slice it in smaller slices, because that way it's easier to work in your hands. And you can already see this piece that was all chunky. Look at that. Look at the difference. It's almost perfect. I mean, come on, 3-year-old clay dried out in the box to the point of looking like something from Bam Bam and Pebbles from the Flintstones. Isn't that what it reminds you of? So I'm just saying, just cut it into these smaller pieces until you get it where you want it softened up enough. And just keep doing that. Keep cutting it into smaller pieces. And do that also if you're able to, once you start, the clay starts the softening process. And I'd say between the hot water bath, now mind you, it was in this baggie in a giant salad bowl that I have that I heated up in the microwave, and that microwave was on for about 4 minutes, and it's about 1,000+ watts, so that water was pretty hot, okay? And what I did is made sure the top was sealed really well on this bag, and once I had done that, I rolled the bag like this and laid it in the bottom of the bowl, and then I actually set this towel on top of it because this towel is real heavy. And you can get one of these towels like at Home Depot or Lowe's, or you can even order it offline if you need to, so that you have something to work with your polymer clay on. But anyway, just like I said, just cut it in small pieces. I don't know, like a size of a piece of pepperoni, or maybe a little thicker. And then you just want to keep working these pieces. Like take this piece here and take it and work it in your hand. Kind of roll it back and forth till it makes like almost like a snake. And you just keep working it. And the heat of your hands will help this clay soften up. I promise you. You won't regret it. This is a great way to restore dried out clay, any kind of polymer clay. Now, I don't know about air dry clays, but I know that the polymer clays, you can do this. You also could add, what is it? It's been a while since I've done it. Work with the translucent clay. You can add translucent, fresh translucent clay, cut it in slices, small slices like I did this, and add it to the clay that's dried out. And by combining the translucent with that, you can soften it up faster. It'll make the process faster. But you'll still have to probably roll it with a roller or put it through a pasta machine if your pasta machine can take it. Remember, it can't be that thick. It's going to have to be rolled out to begin with, thin enough, and then you just keep working it through the pasta machine. Basically, I just did the hammer, the mallet, and the chasing hammer that's meant for my jewelry to pound this stuff to what I call clay submission. So anyway, you can see right now what this looked like again. Okay, folks? It looked like gravel. All right? I mean, I am not kidding you. This stuff is dried out. I don't care how gray it looks. It didn't lose its color. That is something. I figured it would have been white, almost, grayish white, but it stayed its color. But this is actually what it was like. I mean, it was awful. And it was in a solid block, okay? But I'm telling you, you can do it. Don't throw your polymer clay out. I know you can work it, and you can add baby oil to it, and you can gauge. If it's a small package like this of, say, polymer clay, then you definitely don't need a cap full of it. Just use a few drops at a time, you know, and make sure you use a baggie. Again, I state that because it's going to be sticky and oily, and you don't want to get that all over your hands at first while you're trying to get the clay to soften up. So definitely recommend that, and I promise you, you can save your Sculpey or your polymer, whichever one you're using, because these really, Sculpey and the other one, I know some people say, oh, you're not an artist if you use Sculpey. baloney. You know how many sculptors and artists out there I see using Sculpey? Quite a few. And they don't make remarks like that. That's just someone who's trying to steer you away, maybe make you buy something that you can't afford. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you. You know, this is, I should have said welcome to Organic Moon, Silver Moon Designs, but I forgot in the beginning. So anyway, just thank you for coming. If you came to watch the video, I hope you stayed. I hope it was worth it to find out that you actually could get your clay to soften up even after 3 years. Sculpey firm. I was able to beat submission into this clay and add some baby oil to it and then roll it with a roller and work it in my hands. Trust me. And you just want to cut it, like I said, again, in these small pieces so that you can work them in your hands into a, again, into, work it into your hands like this, press, you know, and then you want to take it and roll it back and forth, squeeze it, roll it. If you feel pieces coming apart, I mean, even with the oil on it can still do that. So you want to roll it till you get it like this. And then after you get it like this, just try to roll it in a ball, and then you can go from there. And then you can save the balls and put them into the clay pieces or balls, whatever you want to call it. So you just want to save these pieces so that you can use them, and I suggest that you find a container that is not going to, that the polymer clay is not going to leach through the plastic, because it will do it. It can actually ruin whatever container you have. It will not burn a hole in it or anything like that. It's not like fire clay isn't, but it will definitely eat into the plastic and ruin whatever container you have. So if it's something like your best piece of Tupperware in the kitchen, you don't want to use that. Find something that you would use that would keep it sealed so that no air could get in there, and that you could throw away in the future if you had to. Again, thank you for coming to my channel. This is Organic Silver Moon Designs. My name is Lydia. I really enjoyed doing this video for you. I hope to do more for you in the future, and I hope to show you more, a lot more than I have tonight. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you know now that you can save your clay after 3 years of sitting in a box, inside a box, okay? Dried out like a rock. I mean, I swear, it was like cement. But I did it, and you can do it too, I promise you. And I'm not selling Sculpey, by the way. They don't sponsor me or anything. This is just letting you know so that maybe you can save your clay also. So I'm not being sponsored by Sculpey or Polymer. This is strictly just to help other, you know, creators and crafters that want to know how to save the clay that they may have spent a fortune on and it dried out for whatever reason. But like I said, this clay is 3 years old and I was able to save it. And like I said, if you'll just work it in your hands, the heat in your hands and everything else, and then cutting it into smaller pieces, okay, so that you can work with it, and then using the roller to roll it out, and you will be amazed, I promise you. So thank you so much for anyone who's come to see this video and wants to know how to soften up their polymer or their Sculpey clay. I'm telling you, it can be done. Don't let someone tell you you can't. Unless it's dust, I say it can be sculpted down. Sculpey clay or polymer clay can be softened with some baby oil or with the Sculpey softener. And you can also use translucent clay. If you have a colored clay that you don't want it to get lighter, the translucent clay could cause it to lighten up, but it will help soften it. And you can also use a pasta machine. Anyway, it's been great. I hope that this helped you out in figuring out how to get your polymer clay to soften as I did. Sculpey polymer clay, this one is great, firm, and 3 years old in the box, and it dried out like a piece of cement. I'm telling you, you can do it. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video as I struggle because I need my other camera, but this will have to do for right now. So I just wanted to say thank you so much again for coming. and watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. The fact that you can save your clay. Don't throw it away. You can do it. Anyway, thank you again. Have a great Saturday night. Hopefully everybody's going to have cool weather soon. Not freezing, but cool and comfortable, because the humidity here is awful. And that's another thing. Clay that's in heat doesn't do too good either. And some sculpted clay is like mush. So I can understand why some creators might say, oh, sculpty is, you know, not for somebody who's really artsy. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. If you're using Sculpey, there's nothing wrong with it. There's some sculpted clays that are softer, and then they have other clays that are meant for other things. You have to pick those clays. You don't have to pay $300 for a block of clay. So anyway, thank you so much to all my supporters who are subscribed to me and make wonderful comments on my channels, even after all the few videos I've done. I just wanted to say thank you for supporting Organic Silver Moon Designs and me. Again, my name is Lydia, and this is my channel, and I love what I do, and I hope that I can teach others to do what I do, and hopefully, maybe I'll get to see a Dragon Con in the future, but at the moment I can't do it. But anyway, come back and see me. I have more tips and hopefully some more creative ideas. And this is coming next, the Ammonite. I don't even know if I'm saying that correct, but this is beautiful, and I'm going to wire wrap this. And so right now I have that in a future video for future Lydia and Organic Silver Moon Designs. Thank you so much for all my supporters and people who come and watch my videos and support my channel. Remember to like and subscribe. That helps me so that the algorithm picks up on my videos and that they're shared. And hopefully my channel will grow, and I promise you there's more content to come. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Organic Silver Moon Designs. My name is Lydia.